Welcome into TYT's The Conversation. I am your host, Adrienne Lawrence. And today I have joining me congressional candidate for PA03, Alexandra Hunt.
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us. You've been getting a lot of buzz on social media, in part because people are just, I would say, acting up in terms of past events and whatnot. But essentially, I would love to talk about your essentially move toward this congressional candidacy. What inspired you?
Well, the inspiration came from the pandemic and the unmet needs of my community. When the pandemic first struck, I actually flexed my hours. I was working at a cancer center and I flexed my hours so I could be out in the community getting out relief. And I was helping to test folks for COVID-19 even from the very beginning. I was helping to get out menstrual items and I was also helping to distribute food. And I was at a food distribution site and I had been going there week after week. The line was just incredibly long. I had this thought of these lines are too long. They're not coming to help us. And what am I waiting for? And that was when I decided to run for office. And I started to put together a campaign and we launched a little over a year ago and have been on the campaign trail ever since.
Wow, and how has the experience been? Because I know you've been a public health researcher as well as a girls soccer coach, an advocate for various social issues, but running for office is a whole different beast.
It really is a whole different beast. It is exhausting. It's hard, but also rewarding. When you run a grassroots campaign, you're very much involved in the grassroots, and it brings you around community, and that has been the reward, is getting to sit down, talk with voters, talk about people who are passionate about the policy platform that we have, as well as compassionate towards other folks in the need for policy that puts people first. And that has been really rewarding, but it is a hard experience running for office.
Absolutely, but we need more people to do it and to definitely get out there and use their voices. And I would love to talk about your policy platform. What changes do you essentially aspire to make if you're elected to office?
When people ask me that, I often give the 5 pillars to our campaign. The first one is that we need immediate and robust climate action. We can't just do drops in a bucket. It has to be now, and it has to be everyone all in. When we think of how much we spend on our defense budget, we can apply that to defense against the climate crisis, defense against the pandemic, defense against cyber attacks, and so on and so forth. And it doesn't just have to be the military and weapons. We also need to move towards healthcare being a human right and ensuring that we have universal healthcare for every single person in this country. Very big piece of our platform is education reform. My parents are both teachers, and I believe that education is a ladder to opportunity. So we're very focused on building a school to opportunity pipeline. In the district that I'm running in, which is most of Philadelphia, that our public education, our public schools are severely underfunded, and that is creating an atmosphere of despair. And we need to be building an atmosphere of hopefulness and again, opportunity. Criminal justice reform is something that is personally very important to me. Before I was running for office, I was a community organizer specializing in prison reform and economic justice. So closing the wealth gap, creating a wealth tax, raising the minimum wage to a living wage, and reparations, as well as strong unions.
Wow, it definitely sounds like you have a lot on your docket in terms of things you'd want to accomplish. And in terms of the current incumbent in that seat right now, I guess, what do you think are the bigger hurdles there?
Name recognition. He has held public office for 42 years. He was in the state house before he was in the federal house. And that has garnered him a lot of in-district name recognition. I tell people that while he was in the state house, he was king of the state house because he was the chair of the appropriations committee. He actually lost power during his time in the state house because he was funneling state money into his neighborhood organization. And so he was removed from the chair of the appropriations committee. And then was moved into this seat after his predecessor was indicted and went to jail.
Wow, that sounds like there's some criming going on, or at least there were the allegations there. And this also kind of does make you wonder about the individual's true ability to serve the constituents there. And so if you are going to serve them and truly get your name out there so that you become more recognizable, do you have a strategy for that?
It's layered. We have a digital strategy that is through communications, media, social media. We have a strong ground game. We have relational organizing. If you're familiar with the Bernie Sanders 2016 campaign, they came up with a form of organizing called distributed organizing. And that's when you really give a lot of power to the volunteers on your campaign, and they can organize within amongst themselves to have different events that would push your campaign out to voters and the policy platform.
Wow, it definitely sounds like you guys have a game plan set. And I know with the buzz on social media that I kind of mentioned earlier, it was about your former, essentially working as a dancer in the entertainment community. And has that in any way worked against you or helped you at all?
It's both. It's done both, honestly. Where it helped me is it allows me to relate to folks who have had to survive, who have had to work to make it, and who have known any sort of legislation or policy platform where they've been dehumanized. Where it's hurt is it comes with a lot of stigma, and it also comes with honestly threats. I was pushed out of my coaching job in the very beginning because of being so vulnerable with that part of my life.
Wow. And so in terms of losing your coaching job, I'm sure it was something that you loved very much in terms of leading this girls' soccer team. And so I guess, how did that all evolve? How did that come to pass in terms of losing the job?
Well, I was sitting down with some leadership within the club, and we were reviewing what the next season would look like. And it was brought up that some players had seen our social media platform where we were talking about sex work, and they had brought that to their parents. And then the parents had brought that to the club, and that so on and so forth. I was being essentially demoted in the coaching world to a very young group that would not be able to recognize who I was or our political campaign.
Wow, it's so wild, and it seems very narrow-minded and quite ignorant. It wouldn't matter if you did not have the pedigree that you do, but given all of your accomplishments, given your education, your master's degree and so forth, and the fact of everything you've done to be reduced to this one job experience that you had, it just seems very pathetic, unfortunately. And I'm sorry that there are people out there acting that way, because it's clear that you have a lot to contribute to society and stepping up to run for office for the 3rd District of Pennsylvania. That should be the focus. And so when you are speaking with people and engaging with people, how do you truly connect with them to let them know that you are there for them and that you are equipped with all the talent and the skills to be their leader?
I think it involves a give and take. So I talk about the policy platform, I talk about my experiences, and then I also hear what are the issues that are important to you? What are your life experiences that you are struggling with right now or have in the past? And it's meant a lot to me to be trusted with their experiences that and also to have voters be so vulnerable. And I think that comes from the atmosphere that our campaign is creating of being vulnerable with our own lived experiences. So it's really a give and take of talking about policy, talking about experiences, and then listening to the impact of policy and voters' experiences as well.
Absolutely. Ensuring that your constituents feel heard is so incredibly important. And so for those people out there who hear you and are viewing you right in this moment, and if they want to support you and get involved, where can they get more information about you?
Our website is huntforcongress.com. We have a lot of issues if you want to check them out for our policy platform. We also have a volunteer link. We need so many volunteers to win this. Contributions are welcome. We're doing grassroots fundraising, and you can check out our merch store. You might get a kick out of that.
That sounds great. I can't wait to check it out myself. And also too, when is the election?
May 17th. We're closing in pretty hard.
Yeah, definitely sounds like it. Well, I am definitely inspired by you, and I'm very, very grateful that you are continuing to lead, to stand up, and to contribute to our society to make it a better place. We need more people like you, more voices like you. Please definitely check out Alexandra Hunt. And where can people find you on social media?
Alexandra Hunt for Congress on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, Alexandra, and we wish you all the best in this upcoming election.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.